Miss Laryn Weaver is going to give you some vision for your business tonight. But before I even bring her up here, I want to brag about her for just a second. Because I did some research on this girl, and I want to tell you what she's done. How many of you are brand new jewelers, like started in the past 6 months? Okay, I want to just tell you out. When she started, this is what she did, all right? Are you ready? She started in January of 2003. Now, she had other direct sales experience, I will be truthful, so she knew a little bit about the business. I did the OP with her. I drove over to Pennsylvania, because remember, that's where I was going to sponsor, not in Ohio. I drove there to do the OP. She was very cynical. She didn't believe me, and she was kind of like, that was kind of the look I would get from her. But it's so funny how you see things over the years. We were talking about that a lot today. But when she came in, she had a very successful business in another direct sales company, and she was already booked out for a very long time because she did a lot of shows for the other company. But she started in January of 2003, and listen to what she accomplished in 2003 in the first 12 months of her business. She accomplished the 25 Home Show Club. We've talked about why that's important this year, right? Why the 25 Home Show Club is so important. She became a builder and a designer by Raleigh, so that would have been by July that year, the first 6 months of the business. She also achieved the amethyst, the sapphire, the ruby, and the emerald in her first year in the business. Is that not amazing? So you know she was doing a lot of jewelry shows. In fact, she did 110 jewelry shows her first year in the business, okay? Isn't that amazing? 110, all right? So now it's her second year in the business. She did 122 shows. Let me back up to her first year in the business. While she was doing 110 shows, she sponsored 15 people. She brought 15 people personally into the business. Isn't that amazing? Let me hear it for her. Woo! All right. Second year in the business, 2004, she did 122 shows, okay? She sponsored 14 people. All right. Okay, 2005, her third year, she cut back to just 80 shows. But she did sponsor 13 people while she was at it, okay? All right. And now to just back up a little bit. So those were her first 3 years in the business. She was building a very strong foundation. Now I have to be truthful. When I was just back in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago training her people, and those people that she has over there have phenomenal business. They're very solid. They're very solid in their business, very strong diamond leadership. And you know what? Those are the people that she sponsored back in those years right there. And they have been with her that long. They're great jewelers, great leaders. And then she started in 2003, she became a designer. In 2004, she became a 1 diamond. In 2006, she became a 2 diamond. In 2007, she became a 3 diamond. For those of you who are new, 3 diamonds have 6 designers on their team. In 2008, she became a 4 diamond, which made her a senior leader. In 2009, she became a 5 diamond. 2010, she became a 6 diamond. And in 2011, she became a 7 diamond. Isn't that amazing? So what my point in telling you all of this is she worked really, really hard for 3 years, okay? And then she has also, I forgot to mention, she moved from Pennsylvania, picked up her 4 small children, and relocated them to Ohio to start her business in Ohio. And then she stayed there for a couple years and just, 2 years? Almost 2 years ago, she relocated again to South Carolina. She finally got smart and went south, okay? And so she has started her business from scratch 2 times. Isn't that amazing? And her leaders back there are still obviously doing very well. She has achieved the 500 Home Show Club. How many have you done total? Do you remember?
Almost 7.
Almost 700 jewelry shows. So it's amazing when you think about that over a span of 10 years. That's on average at least 70 shows a year. She still is a 7 diamond designer. She travels all over the place and she trains a lot of different places. She's in a very high demand for speaking because she's amazing, as you're going to soon find out. But she has had 300 people on her team, and she has obviously 28 designers because that's what it takes to be a 7 diamond designer. And in Premier, for those of you who are new, a 1 diamond has 1 designer, a 2 diamond has to add 2 more, a 3 diamond has to add 3 more on top of that, so that's 6 designers. A 4 diamond has to have 10 designers. A 5 diamond has to have 15 designers. A 6 diamond has to have 21. I am feeling really smart right now, just saying. And a 7 diamond has to have 28. So it's not, the mere jump in diamonds is a lot harder than what it actually really looks like when I just say it out loud. So I just wanted to kind of give you that analogy. And just to show you this, I printed this off of her activity reports. For those of you who are familiar with it, it took 3 pages. Can you even imagine? 3 pages to get all of her activity out here. There is not anything that the woman hasn't done. Whatever you desire to achieve or attain has already been done by somebody, and she is the one that's going to just share a little bit about her. Now, I've known Laryn for obviously a long time since she started in Premiere, and I've seen her change a lot, as we all have changed and evolved. And she has always been a great speaker. She's always been a very hard worker, very hard work ethic. The girl, she has the whatever it takes attitude. Whatever it takes, she's going to get it done. But I love the person that she is as my friend. I love the fact that she does add value to everybody's lives that she touches, and I am just beyond thrilled for you guys to all here. So give her a warm Illinois welcome.
That's long legs. You can help with that big step right there. That is really hard to listen to. It is really hard to sit there and listen to that. It just, I mean, I know I did it, but this is just really hard to just shut up, okay? Just let me start talking. Okay, I'm trying to think of, now you said all that, I feel like I should just stand here. So did you all understand? Okay, there are two things. We're going to talk about culture, defining your own personal culture. And then we're going to talk about defining team culture. So I didn't turn around when she said how many are new. How many of you have people on your team? So whether that's one person or, hundreds. So about half. Okay. So about half of you are new jewelers and without jewelers, and the other half have. Okay, well, good. How many of you have read this book? Okay, well, write that down if you haven't, because this will be a good book to read, because we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to kind of reference it. I'm not really going to explain it to you, but we are going to talk about that a little bit.
What's the title?
It is Soup.
That's it, just soup.
Soup.
Okay.
John Gordon.
John Gordon.
It says a recipe to nourish your team and culture. Soup. But I don't think you can nourish the culture around you unless you have nourished your own culture. And so you have to start with you and the culture that you're creating yourself before you're going to influence anybody else's. And what Donna just shared, when I came into Premiere, yes, I was very cynical. I'd spent 7 years with another company that wasn't exactly as people-focused as Premiere is, so I was a little edgy. And I didn't want to do this business. I didn't wear jewelry. I didn't like jewelry. I didn't like women. And so it was really cool. So the fact that God really called me in to do this, I wasn't happy about it. So I went to the first rally, regional, did not want to be there, and Donna has a picture to prove it.
And it's pretty bad.
I mean, it was bad. But I'm grateful for obedience, because when you listen, God blesses. And so here I am 10 years later, and I am grateful that I took that step. The story in the book Soup talks about a company that's not doing well, and the person who comes in and has to revive this company, and the things that she needs to do as new CEO, and what she has to change within herself before she can begin to change that within the culture around her. So that's kind of, just to give you a backdrop of the story. Donna pretty much shared my personal story in a nutshell. When I started Premiere, I came into it wanting to build a big business. A lot of people come in and say, I just hope to make my investment back. How many of you are sitting here? I hope I just make an extra $500 a month. Okay, I did not come in with that attitude. I came in and said, how quickly can I make 6 figures? I mean, that was my mentality. So I came in already believing that it was possible. Why? Because there were other people making it. And they're no different than me. They've just been doing it longer. So I want to encourage you that you are no different from me. I've just been doing it longer. And if it's happening for somebody else, there's no reason that it can't happen for you. You just have to decide that that's the culture you want to create. And so that was, when I came in, that was my intention. So I did come in, I knew I had to book shows. I knew I had to hold shows, and I knew how to sponsor people. I didn't know what to wear. I didn't know anything about jewelry. I didn't know what a lobster claw, toggle closure, I didn't know any of that language. My first show, I took 14 pieces of jewelry. 14. There were 15 guests. They took turns. Okay. So for me, it was never about the jewelry. It has never been about the jewelry. It is about the business. It's about the opportunity, and it's about the women. It is about being able to help women change their circumstances, to help women become the people that they were created to be. And this business allows us the platform to be able to do that, to speak into the lives of women at our shows, and as we sponsor people, to speak into the lives of women that God brings into our lives through this business. So that is what I love about what we do. The jewelry is just a way to get into somebody's house. So I've never, and even to this point, I enjoy wearing it. Do you like my combination, by the way?
Yeah.
I've really grown a lot in the last 2 years. I had to borrow a bracelet from Donna because I didn't bring any. So it's still not about the jewelry. I enjoy it. I love wearing it. I love helping women feel pretty. But getting past that and into what this business can really be and who you can become in this business because of the culture Premier has created. Premier has a culture that's about serving. Premier has a culture that's about honoring people. Premier has already built that within our corporate structure. But within your own business, you need to decide what kind of culture you want to create. So right from the beginning, I set the bar high. I need to do 15 to 20 shows a month. So when my jewelers came in, I want to ask you this question. If your people on your team did half what you do, how successful would they be? Because if you are if you're the leader, people aren't going to do what you do. They're going to do half of what you do and think they're doing well. So if you're only doing one show a month, how successful are the people going to be that you're trying to lead? So for me, if I come in and I say I'm going to do 15 to 20 shows a month, and I have my jewelers like, I don't think I could do more than 10. Well, that's all right. Okay, do you see that difference? What kind of culture do you create? So for me, coming in, I want to do 15 to 20 shows. Now, the first year I went to Rally, I had my ribbons down to here, I made all this stuff. People were like, wow, congratulations, how'd you do that? I said, I don't know what that is. It was President's Circle, and I didn't know what that meant because how did you do it? What's motivating you? I didn't have any other income. I have 4 people in my house that like to eat daily. Like it doesn't matter how many times I feed them, they eat again the next day. So I need to keep selling jewelry in order to keep feeding these people. That was my motivation. We made designer in June, and Glenn quit his job in September. He quit his job because we knew that this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to do this as quickly as possible, and it was either hire somebody to help me, buy a second car so that I could run during the day and do the stuff that I needed to do, or he just stays home and we run the business together and we do all the stuff that we need to do. So with 11 people on our team, Glenn quit his job and we went full-time with Premier. We lived on this income. You can support yourself on this income. So don't think, well, I have to get to a certain place. People say, well, what happened if you lost shows? Like, what happened if you had cancellations? What happens if you couldn't get any bookings? Well, then you go get them. But what if you couldn't? You do. But what if you can't? You have to. Do you see how that changes it? It's really motivating. I need a bill to pay. I need the mortgage. I need to go grocery shopping. And that motivated me because I didn't have a choice. When it's just fun money, I guess I won't have much fun this month. See how that's not as motivating. So creating something, tying something to this income, making it a need, provides a discipline that most people don't have. Most of us are not very self-disciplined. We need somebody else. We need accountability. A mortgage is a good accountability. 4 hungry mouths is a good accountability because that doesn't change whether it's January or July. You need to make the same amount of money in January as you do in November. So you need to make sure that your calendar stays the same. So he quit his job in September. That was a really rough first year. Financially, maritally, relationally. He's in my stuff. He was trying to organize and tell me how to do things. It was a hard year, and I know that's not for everybody. And so I will never go anywhere and tell everybody you need to quit your job to make this work. That is not what I'm saying. This is my story, it doesn't have to be yours. I just want you to know what's possible. So everything that I say to you today, I want you to listen through your own filter and decide, is this something that works for me? I will never go in anywhere and say, you have to do it this way or you're never going to make it, because that's just not true. All right, but this is what worked for me. And if you want to think that maybe possibly someday you could have more than you have right now, then you're going to have to be willing at some point to take your feet off of the safety and just go for it. At some point, you're going to have to do that. We did a little earlier than most, which made it a little rough. But you know what? I wanted quickly. I'd already been in direct sales for 7 years, and I didn't want to wait 7 more before I could get to the point. My kids were all little. They were 5 and 4 and 23 months and 6 months or something like that when I started. My goal was to be in senior leadership, making 6 figures before they were all in school full time. So Max was 6 months. I had 4 years and 6 months. And in January, before he started kindergarten, we promoted to 4 diamond. That was my goal. I'm home with them all day. I am more than happy to leave them home with Daddy all night. Hi, honey. You know what? They have a great relationship with their dad. My oldest 3 girls, girl, they adore their dad. He is so close with them, and it's so healthy for them because they have a relationship with their dad because I wasn't always there. It created independence in my children. It showed them the work ethic. I didn't just tell them I went to work. I showed them what I did when I went to work. So a lot of times when we have small kids, we think, well, I just want to be home with them, and when they get bigger, I'll do this. When they get bigger, the issues just get bigger. I think they need me more now as teenagers than they did when they were this big. Anybody can pour a glass of juice, but only mama can have certain conversations with your 16-year-old. So whatever phase of life you're in, don't think the next one's going to be easier or better or simpler. You either decide to do it or decide not to do it, but don't wait for the perfect storm to come around, because that's just never going to happen. So Glenn quit his job, we got started, and then Donna read the rest of what happened after that. You hold shows, and you sponsor people. And then you hold more shows, and then you sponsor people. And then you hold more shows, and you
Sponsor people.
sponsor people. Well, there we go, I'm done. That's my training, because that's all we do. And you do it every day, and you do it whether people are nice to you or not, and you do it whether people hang up on you or cancel or whatever happens. You hold shows, and you sponsor people, and you hold shows. But then I got 2 people on my team, and I need to help them. You know the best thing you can do to help them? Go book shows, sponsor people, and go book more shows. You turn it around going, but I'm going to help them. You need to be the leader out front, moving forward. If they want to come with you, they'll come with you. But we turn around and start managing our people and lose sight of the fact that we're supposed to be building a business, which means we hold shows, we sponsor people. I didn't sponsor 7 and then decide I needed to be a manager. I sponsored 7 more in the next 6 months. Because I know those first 7 aren't going to stay. I have 1 from my original 7. I have 2 from my next 7. So if I hadn't continued to sponsor, I wouldn't be here. I'd still be a designer, maybe a builder, trying to get my status back. Because I decided I was going to help these 7 build a business. Instead of going out, holding more shows, and sponsoring more people. It really is that simple. It's not easy, but it really is that simple. All right, so that's a little bit about my personal passions are doing what I'm doing right now. I actually have another business that I do. It's called Grace Unfolding, and I travel and do women's retreats, and I do one-on-one coaching, and it's LarynWeaver.com. You can all check that out. That's what I love doing. I love teaching. I love working with women, helping people to figure out what their gifts are and how to best glorify God by using those gifts. That's what I love to do. I love that Premier gives me a really great place to be able to do that because I'm always around women. So being able, for me, that's the culture, that's who I am. You need to figure out what your blueprint is. Who are you? You're not me, you're not Kelly, you're not Donna. Who are you, and what gift do you have? What is your strength? What is your giftedness? And how can you, within this environment of Premier, within the culture that Premier has created, what is it that you bring that someone else doesn't necessarily bring? You have to tap into what that is. I am successful at my shows, not because I'm great with the jewelry. I usually let somebody else there who's better at it put it on everybody else. So it has nothing to do with my jewelry. I don't do games. I don't give away a whole bunch of stuff. I don't do a whole bunch of different activities. I have no fluff and poster. Nothing comes with me except me and my jewelry. And I only bring about 120 pieces. So I don't bring, the catalog. What makes me successful at my shows is that I show up to my shows as Laryn. I don't try to show up to my shows as Donna. I don't go listen to a great training and then go, oh, I'm not successful because I need to be her. I go into my shows as Laryn. So go into your shows as you, because there's someone at that show that God wants you to talk to. That's why she's at your show. So you need to decide who you are and what culture you're going to create. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for with your own people? What do you want to be known for among your hostesses? Who are you? And what kind of culture are you creating? In the book, they talk about stirring the pot, because it's soup. Okay, just want to make sure you all picked up on that little thing there. All right. No matter how carefully chefs follow the same recipe, the final product always varies a little bit. Even if 2 chefs do everything exactly the same way, the meal will always come out a little differently. Who stirs the pot has an impact on what's in the pot. If you've been in the business long enough, you know that there are a whole bunch of senior leaders and they're really not alike. If you look at the executive directors, they are all so different, personality-wise, age-wise, style-wise, temperament-wise. How did they all get there? They will all tell you different things. Well, this is the activity I do, and this is the way I do my show. Who stirs the pot makes the big difference. It's not the activity, it's not the booking activity, it's not the sponsoring activity, it's not the specific thing you have to do, it's you. And you can take any of those activities that anybody says is the best thing going, and if it's you, and it becomes you, it will work for you. And if it doesn't, it won't. It's not the activity that's going to book shows. It's the person doing the activity that's going to book shows. It's the person stirring the pot. The love and energy we invest into our life and work determines the quality of it. The love we share in raising our children, or developing employees, or helping a customer impacts the final product. The love, or lack of love, we give ourselves and share with others will determine whether life is sweet or sour. It determines the fabric and texture of our relationships and how others perceive and receive us. When we love our kids, they feel it. When we stir the pot at work with love, our customers and colleagues notice. Just as soup is a reflection of the soup maker, our lives, careers, and businesses are the reflection of the love and energy that we put forth. So who's stirring your pot? Who do you allow to stir your pot? Do you allow the media, the news, to stir your pot? Is that who determines your attitude, your temperament, what your whole persona is? Do you allow external circumstances in your home, things that may be issues going on, your other job that you may have? Or do you take control of your pot and you filter what's going into your soup? It's so critical. This is so critical because there's so much training out there. You know, you need to come training, so applaud yourself. Way to be here. Okay, you know why you need to be here? It has nothing to do with learning how to do a jewelry show. Because you know, you could sit home in your pajamas and you could Google Premier Jewelry Show, and you could watch whatever you want to watch. You could watch jewelry combinations. You could watch last month's training from somebody else that did something else and posted something. I mean, there is so much out there. 10 years ago, Donna would send me cassette tapes with the training from 10 years earlier. That was our big training. So if you wanted to learn how to do a jewelry show 10 years ago, you better get to training and figure out how to do it. That's not the case anymore because we have all this great technology. So that you don't come here for that. You come here to be reminded about what it is you're a part of. You come here to connect with other people who are trying to become better people. You come here to connect with other people who are also trying to build the business, become successful, spur each other on, be an encouragement. You plug in, not so that you can learn something new, like how to do this necklace. And although you may learn that while you're here, that's not why you plug in. Because we all need encouragement. We all need to be reminded that what we're doing is a good thing. So don't get caught up in, well, I didn't learn anything new. It's kind of like when people say they don't go to church because they don't get anything out of it. What are you bringing to it? Because if you're not bringing any spirit with you, you're not going to be taking any spirit with you when you leave. So when you come in here, what are you bringing? What do you bring? What is your culture going to do to affect the culture of the people that you're sitting with? Okay, 3 things about your pot. Your attitude, your focus, and your level of engagement. Now, I get so tired of the attitude talks. It's important. It's one of the most important things. I just get tired of it. You have to have a good attitude. You have to, yeah, we know. Yeah, that's really not working anymore. I know I have to have a good attitude. Stop telling me that. But it starts to feel like that after a while. So when you talk about having a good attitude, there are 3 things for each one of those: education, prayer, and being plugged in. So for your attitude, are you a learner? Like, are you constantly trying to learn something new to become a better you? Because if you're not, you're going to struggle in this business. If you are not being challenged, if you are not growing, stretching, allowing yourself to be changed, you're going to struggle in the business because you can't get to the next place without stretching yourself. So education is important in maintaining a good attitude. You need to know what you're doing. If you're brand new and you sat here tonight as a guest, or you're just signed up in the last week, you don't know very much about Premier. You don't know very much maybe about the industry. You don't know very much about Andy and Joan, about their history, about what we're about. You don't know much maybe about the marketing plan. What are you going to do? You're going to just hope it comes in by osmosis over time? Or are you going to intentionally go forward and say, I need to find out this stuff. I just invested money in this business. Now I need to invest some time in this business. People want to invest their money and then they get really mad when they don't make their money back, but they didn't invest any time. You have to do both. So education will help you have a better attitude. Don't you feel more confident when you know what you're doing? It doesn't matter what it is. If you have children, think about the first child that came home, poor thing. By the fourth kid, I was, doing this, baby on hip, doing 10,000 other things. First baby was like, okay, well, you might be there right now. I don't want to screw up my first show. You really can't. You can't kill people at a jewelry show. Don't worry about it. Show up, beat yourself, have fun, screw up, break jewelry, tell them it's guaranteed. Just be there. You can't really screw this up that badly. You just have to keep doing it, and over time it's going to get better. That educating yourself about the business, educating yourself about the industry, educating yourself will help you to have a better attitude because you're more confident. When you educate yourself and you don't get stuck here, like, oh no, I had a cancellation. I'm terrible at this business sucks, I'm never doing it again. Okay, well, oh, you mean other people have that happen? Oh, I thought it was just me. Yes, everybody, including me. I was telling Dawn I had a $64 show last week. Woo! I know, impressive, isn't it? They didn't know who I was. That's the problem was, Lauren, that jewelry lady, just like everybody else is. $68, $64 show. It happens to everybody. Educate yourself. It helps your attitude. Educate yourself, it helps your focus. You have to know what you're doing, why you're doing it. Oh, I'm just going to sign up for this thing and see what happens. And nothing's going to happen. It doesn't work that way. You have to decide what it is you want to do. Why do you want to do it? Why are you sitting here? Why did you spend your time on a Monday night to come here and listen to me? What do you want? Nobody can help you if you don't know that. Your upline cannot help you if you don't know what it is that you're trying to do. Do you understand how that makes no sense? And yet, so many people come in like that. Lead me. Where? I don't know. Somewhere. So having a focus, what do you want out of this business? And it doesn't have to be what I wanted. You don't have to come in and think I want to make 6 figures. You can come in and say, I want out of the house once a week. That is my main focus. I need 1 day a week out of the house in grown-up clothes. And if that is all, if that motivates you and gets you going, then amen, good for you. Then you are successful in this business, if that's your focus. But then don't give up on it and say, oh, well, I guess I really didn't need a day out this week. Yes, you did. That's why you came in. So keep yourself educated. Keep your focus. And the third one is your level of engagement. You all came here, paid your $5, you sat down. How many of you are really here? And how many of you are sort of in and out? I keep going back to church because that just seems to relate.
You're in a church.
Maybe that's it. People go to church, but are you really there? Are you thinking about where you're going after and the grocery list and the thing you didn't do and did I leave the iron on? And what did he say? Engage with where you are. Be present to what you're doing. Whatever you are doing, be present to it. One of the biggest reasons that women are so frazzled is because we think that we can do 10 things at once. We really can't. Your brain can occupy one thought at a time. That is a scientifically proven fact. Your brain can only hold one thought at a time. So if you think you're thinking about 4 things at once, you're not. You're doing this. Which is why you feel like this all the time. One thought at a time is all you can maintain. So if you are trying to make dinner, looking through a book bag, answering a phone while you're texting on the other one, stirring dinner, getting ready to go to your show, and you get in the car and go, oh my gosh, I'm always so frazzled. Seriously, and you wonder why. One thing at a time. If you are sitting with somebody having a conversation, then have a conversation with that person, not this person, not that other person, not looking past her. Look in her eyes. Have a conversation with her. Be present to her. Be present to your children. Be present to your spouse. Be present to your hostess. Instead of worrying about where you need to go next and what you need to do and how else you need to get there. That's why we're frazzled. Be engaged. Your level of engagement is huge. How many of you would like to say you work out? That's a better way to phrase it. How many of you like to pretend that you exercise? Okay, I'll be in that category. Because we can put on our really cute outfit, we can go to the gym, and we can walk around with our water bottle, and we can exercise. Or we could go work out. There's a really big difference in that. Be engaged with what you're doing. If you're going to do this business, do this business. And if you don't really want to do it, you just want to play with it, then admit it. I just want to play with this business. Don't feel like you have to say, I really want to build this, when inside you're going, I really don't, but I think I'm supposed to say that. If you want to play with it, you're allowed, but own that. And if you want to build it, then build it, and own that, and what comes with it. Quit being in between. Be engaged with what you want out of this business, and then go get it. You have to be an initiator. You have to educate yourself. It's all out there and available. Your leaders are here to lead you to what you need to do, not to give it to you. Dawn and I talked today for an hour. I'll get on my soapbox if I get on this, so I'm only staying here for a second. The whole entitlement spoon feeding thing that goes on. We spoon feed people things and then wonder why they are incapable of doing it on their own. We spoon feed our children until they're 18 and then wonder why we have a whole bunch of adult children. Because no one ever taught them to do it for themselves. Be responsible for yourself. Go get the information. Well, my upline's not doing what I need. Who cares? You're an adult. There's other information. There's other people. Go be an initiator. Go find it. She's not giving me what I need. Well, then go find it someplace else. Instead of trying to get something, it's like trying to get, what is that, blood from a stone? Is that what that is? Okay, so education, prayer. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's premier or child rearing or kid raising, husband's marriage, I don't care. If you're not praying, you're operating on like half a cylinder. And that if you're not a person of faith, if that's not something that balances out your life, then I would encourage you to ask why it's not and where along the lines did you separate from that. For me, that is my entire core. That's who I am. If I don't get my hour in the morning, I get up, I take my son to school, and drop him off at school at 7:45. I go to church from 7:45 to 8:30. I journal, I pray, I have quiet time from 8:30 to 9:15 is mass. At 9:15 I go work out, and I'm home by 10 o'clock. That's my morning. If I don't do that, my day, I don't work. I don't function well. I need that center time. I need to hear what God wants me to do today. I don't have time to do that. You don't have time not to do that. There's a great quote. I just wrote it somewhere yesterday. Hold on, I'm going to get it. St. Francis de Sales said, everybody should spend a half an hour a day with God, unless you're really busy. And then you should spend an hour. We say we are too busy. And then we wonder why life just doesn't ever come together. This is so, center yourself. Spend time in prayer. Pray about your business. Pray about your marriage. Pray about your kids. Pray about your calling. Pray about the blueprint that God put in your heart. Pray about what He wants you to do. Lord, what would you have me do today? And then see if it's a little bit more successful than the thing you try. I would almost guarantee you it's going to be. Maybe not easier, but definitely more successful. So education, prayer, and plugged in. And you're here, so you are plugged in. You know, I hate saying this stuff at training. You know, you should come to training because, well, you're already here. But I don't know where else to say that. You all know the value of plugging into other people. You have to plug into an energy source. One energy source is God. The other energy source is people. We are people who were designed for community. It is not good for man to be alone. I will make someone who is fit to help him. It is not good for us to be alone, to be isolated. And our world is desperately trying to isolate us. Do you know that you could go to the post office, the bank, grocery shopping, get gas, go home, and never speak to another person? Because we've become so automated, we have eliminated human interaction because it's just easier. It's really messy when you have to deal with people and you have to talk to them. But that's what our world has done. And so we become more and more isolated. We encourage women to stay at home with their children. And then we stick them out in the suburbs in this great big house all by themselves with little people who don't really think. And then we wonder why they're all stir crazy. We are created for community. It's what keeps us accountable. Gives us perspective instead of thinking that this is how the world is. So plug into community makes a huge difference. So those things, your focus, your attitude, and your level of engagement are elevated by your education, your prayer life, and being plugged in the community. Whenever I go and train, everybody's like, well, what is your big secret to being successful? And they think I'm going to tell them my magic booking activity, my magic sponsoring activity, or what I did to get so many shows. Nothing different than anything you've ever heard. I've done some of this, done a little bit of that. That's not the trick to this business. It's not the key that's going to make you successful. If I just could find the next, latest, and greatest booking activity, it will change my business and I will suddenly be successful. Not true. The thing that's going to make you successful, you already have it. You have to uncover it. Find out what it is through these things that we just talked about. Do you believe that? What do you believe? What do you think? And what do you want? We say all the time, people ask, well, what's the hardest part? Why do you think people aren't successful at this business? What do you think is the one common denominator for why people aren't successful? It's right between here and here.
They're lazy.
That's your answer. Donna's answer is lazy. It's between here and here. Between your ears. People psych themselves out. I can't. They get discouraged. They let people talk trash at them. They let their inner tapes keep playing. They screw up their own minds. This is where we fail in this business. This is where we fail in most things. It's our own psyche that kills us, not the external things. So choosing your thoughts. This is actually my book, my little plug here. It's called Living Intentionally, How to Live Life on Purpose. And I do a lot with your thoughts and your words. If we can't control our thought life, there is no way we're going to be able to do anything else productive. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Watch your thoughts, it becomes your destiny. And yet, how much stuff do we think about every day that is just really not sending us in the place that we want to go? When my daughter Jessica was 5, she was learning how to ride her bike without training wheels. Glenn would run behind her, as practically every parent has done since the beginning of time, holding the seat until she caught her balance and could take off. Unfortunately, when she reached the end of the road, Glenn would have to go get her and go through the process again because she couldn't turn around. Jess would not turn while riding because she was afraid of falling. We cheered and encouraged, and yet every time she came to the end of the road, she would stop. After several attempts, she cried and cried that she just couldn't do it. I can't turn my bike. I can't, she would say over and over again. Finally, I realized her problem. Her thoughts, her beliefs, and her words were determining her actions and her abilities. We spent the next 10 minutes talking. She's 5. I'm a little over. Anyway, 5 minutes talking about how she could turn her bike. I had her repeat out loud over and over again, I can turn my bike. I remember standing there in her little face, making her say it, I can turn my bike. I can turn my bike. As she set off down the street again, I'm yelling behind her, I can turn my bike! When she reached the end of the road, she turned and began riding back to us. We use that lesson learned repeatedly in our house. Believing in something deeply does impact our actions and our destinies. Jessica's personal experience of truth has made that more real for her. Unfortunately, I thought that would change her forever. But we keep doing the same stinking lesson. I can't swallow that pill. I can't swallow that pill. It doesn't matter what I'm trying to do with her. That's her mentality. I can't do it. She psychs herself out of everything. How much do we do that? I can't book another show. I can't make one more call. I can't talk to one more person. I can't go through this again. I can't. You're right. And that becomes our reality. What we say starts with what we think, and then we say it, and then it becomes it. So we have to go all the way back to the source, and it's what we think. The mistake we try to make is we try to change our behavior. That's impossible. Because our behavior is so rooted in our habits and our psyche that all we do is become frustrated with ourselves. And then we beat ourselves up more in our thoughts about how awful we are that we couldn't do it. You have to change it at the source, and the source is in your thoughts. Excuse me. Emotional contagion. Whatever your emotion is, it's going to get caught. So what are you infecting people with? What do you infect your home with? What do you infect your marriage with? What do you infect your shows with? What is your emotional contagion? When I leave to go out of town, and this last time is when this became apparent, my youngest daughter, who is going to be 13, she said, "Oh, I don't want you to go." I said, "Honey, I have to go to work." You know the conversation, if you have children, how that goes. Mama has to go to work. I'll be home on Tuesday. I said, "I'm going to miss you too." She said, "Well, I am going to miss you, but that's not why I don't want you to go." And I said, "Okay, why do you want me to go?" "Because Daddy turns into grumpy gills when you're not here." Glenn's sitting right there, and I said, "Is this true?" "Do you turn into grumpy gills?" And he went, "Yeah. Yeah, I do." So it became this running joke in the house. Because he turns into Mr. Grumpy Gills, like he's going to kill me for saying this in front of you people, and because he turns into Mr. Grumpy Gills when I leave, the entire environment of the house, the other 4 people who have to live there, are miserable. Because he's the daddy, and he's being grumpy, and so they all just sort of cower on the other side of the house till Mama comes home. What do you bring? What are you infecting here? Are you Grumpy Gills? Are you Grumpy Gills at your shows, trying to get something out of these people because you had a bad day and somebody better buy something? I can remember going to my shows thinking, "Lord, I really want to serve these people, but while I'm serving them, can they please buy $600 worth of jewelry?" But you still need to go. I don't care what, you have to bring the attitude that you want at your show. If you want them to have a good time, your goal is to have them have a good time, not you. Your goal is to make them enjoy themselves. Your goal is to make them feel good about themselves, not you. This isn't so you can stroke and feel good and feed your ego. This is so that those women there can leave feeling good and stroked and lifted up. So you have to go with the intention to lift these other women up. And if you're Grumpy Gills, that's going to be really hard. So whatever, if you're, okay, we're talking about your culture, the culture you're creating. We're talking about your thoughts. You start with what you're thinking. What are you plugged into? What are you listening to? What are you educating yourself with? And then ultimately, what do you choose to be? You can wake up and choose to be grumpy, or you can wake up and choose to be happy. It is absolutely a choice. It's a choice to love someone. It's a choice to be mean to someone. It's a choice to smile. It's a choice to frown. It is a choice. We think it's not, particularly women, but I don't feel like it. You don't feel like it because you're thinking wrong thoughts. So I want you to everybody close your eyes for a second. I want you to think about something really icky that's happened this week. Like something, whether it was something with your spouse or your kids, something with work, something that was just not good. It made you feel depressed or angry or frustrated, and you just get that icky pit in the center of your stomach. And just think about it. Think about what happened. Think about maybe what that person said to you, or think about what the situation was, what the misunderstanding was. Just think about that and all of the words that were said and the emotion that came with it. How are you feeling right now?
Yucky.
Yucky. You were all laughing a couple minutes ago. You probably don't feel quite as much like laughing right now. What happened? What changed?
I thought.
That's the only thing in the entire room that changed, is what you were thinking about, and you became quieter. You all kind of went like this. You could feel the energy draining out of the room because all of you were thinking about yucky stuff. Now, I'm not going to leave you there. Close your eyes again. I want you to think about your favorite place in the world. Your favorite place. It could be a place you've never been. It could be a place you go all the time. It could be in your room. It could be at the beach. Your favorite place. And I want you to think about your favorite person in the world. The person you adore. And you are in that place with that person. And anything that has been happening has all been resolved. There is complete peace. You are surrounded in the Spirit. And you are just basking in God's grace with this person you love in the most glorious place on earth. You have to come back. So we're not done yet. But how do you feel now?
Great.
That little exercise can change your life. But we tend to get into a place where we're grumpy and we're thinking bad things, and then we like to roll around in it. We're going to keep being mad about it, and we're just going to be mad, and we're going to think about it, and we're going to call people and get them thinking about it so they can feed us feeling thinking about it. Now we're all thinking about it because we need someone to validate our right to be mad. So now not only am I'm contagiating everybody else with my yuckiness, and now they're like, yeah, that happened to me too, and now she's miserable. So we don't just have a bad thing, we like to chew on it. Stop doing that. Seriously, stop doing that. You're killing yourself. Stop doing that. I'm guilty too. So I'm listening. I'm sitting right next to you hearing the same talk. I know this and I do it. Capture your thought for Christ. Something comes into your mind that shouldn't be in there. You say, Lord, I want that. Lord, take that from me. I don't have the strength to deal with that. Take that away from me. I don't want to go there. And replace it with something good. Replace it with whatever is good, whatever is true, whatever is peaceful, whatever is lovely. Think on these things. Whatever is noble, whatever is pure. Think on these things. Fill your mind with these things. That's what's going to give you the peace. So that emotional contagion. Who are you following? Is the person you're following doing shows? Is the person that you're following sponsoring people? Is the person that you're following plugged in to a source that's healthy? To a source that's feeding them and encouraging them? If the person that you are following doesn't do shows, hasn't sponsored anybody this year, is telling you about all the stuff that you need to be doing, what are you doing? I mean, unless you want her business, then by all means follow her. But you need to decide what you want in your culture and find somebody who's living that and follow that. People ask me all the time, who's your mentor? What do you read? I read everything. If it has words in it, I read it. It doesn't matter what it is. I devour books. I love books. I love writing books. I love reading books. But the only book that I've read that has made me, that has really challenged me as how to lead, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Nobody can lead like Jesus. So he has kind of a rudely group. They weren't exactly polished, refined guys. And they really challenged him on some things. And some of the stuff I read, I'm like, wow, 3 years and they're still asking you that, huh? 3 years and they're still wondering who you are. Wow, maybe I should be nicer to my downline. We've only been in for a year and I'm like, aren't you getting this yet? But if you want to find out how to lead, how to really lead, how to be a servant leader, those are good books. And you can figure out how to have that internal culture that affects the people around you instead of letting the people around you affect your culture, which is typically what we do. We become whatever it is we're with. We're like chameleons because we want to just be like everybody else and we want to be the one who stands out. Be the one who steps above the drama. Be the one who's able to pull back from whatever that nasty chaos that's going on and say, hey, can we get some perspective? Be that person that is willing to stand back, that is willing to not gossip, not talk. Be the one who sets the stage for the culture, that other people go, how is she able to do that? She's always so peaceful. She always has that calm about her. How does she do that? I want that. Well, I can show you where you could get it. If you want to lead people, you have to be in a place they want to go. If you want to lead people, you need to be in a place other people want to go. You can't lead people if you're not leading yourself. You can't lead people if you're in a place that's the same place they are. You have to set yourself apart. And when I talk about leadership, I'm not just talking about the jewelers on your team. I'm talking about the women at your show. Do you want them to buy something from you? They're going to have to trust you. They're going to have to buy you first. Do you want people to book a show with you? Then they need to want you in their home. So everything we do is about creating that leadership. It's about creating a culture people want to be around. People want to be involved in. The best compliment anyone's ever paid to me, 2 of them, 2 different people. One of them said, I said, well, why did you become a jeweler? we're at a big meeting. She said, I just really wanted to be around you. I was like, oh, that's really sweet, but really? She goes, no, that's it. And I felt really, I was like, okay, I don't even know how to help you with that. You want to come to dinner? I mean, I don't know what to do with her. And the other one was someone came to me and she said, I've seen you at retreats and I've heard you talk, and I go to church every Sunday, but I want to know your God, because it's not the God I know. Being able to create a culture that people look at and go, I want that. I don't even know what that really is. I just know I want that. I want what she has. I want to be where she is. I want to have that peace. I want to have that center. I want to have that kind of success. Not the kind of success that tears you off in different directions, make you more frazzled, makes you more crazy than you were before when you weren't successful. Success to me is being successful in all things. One of the teachings that I do is about harmony, because I don't like the word balance, because you can't really be in balance. If you ever saw balance is imbalance, it's doing what? Does your life ever look like that? Completely still, nothing going on? I could be in balance really easy if I didn't have anything going on, right? So when we try to balance our life, it doesn't work, because you can't get your life to stop long enough to be in balance. What you want to try to create is a harmony with all the stuff that's important to you. And sometimes this thing's going to take time, and sometimes this is going to take time. Sometimes your business is going to have to take precedence over your family, and sometimes your family's going to have to take precedence over your business, and sometimes this is going to have to wait till later. But if all of these things that are important to you are all peaceful, healthy places, you're successful. If you build a huge business and you've got tons of money and you've got lots of people and you're frazzled and miserable, that's not success either. So figuring out a way to keep your core in you, what you want for you, what's best for you, what's best for your family, what God put in you to be who you're supposed to be. When you figure out what that is, all the great information that's out there from all the fabulous trainers that we have in this company, and all the books you can read, you can then read that information, take in that information, and hold it up against you and go, yeah, this doesn't really work for me. I'm not condemning her or saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it doesn't fit with me, and that's okay. Yeah, but she's an executive director. I have to do it. No, you don't. Because you've decided this is the culture that I want. And I can make those decisions. I can give myself permission to own my own business. Each one of you owns your own business. You are all business owners. You have to decide what you want your business to look like and then make it look like that. Instead of saying, is it okay if I do this? Do you think I should do that booking activity? Maybe I should do that. I need permission to do that. Can I miss that? Can I go to this? Should I not do that? Grow up. You're all adults. You may have a mama in Premier, but you were all adults when you signed your paperwork. You didn't revert to childhood. So don't feel like you can't own your business. You don't need somebody else to come in and tell you how to run it. Do you need help? Do you need resources? Do you need direction? Sure. You don't need the home office to offer you promotions. Offer them yourself. You need the home office to spoon you a business. You go create it. You have every tool out there you need. If you don't build it, it's because you decided not to. And it's nobody else's fault but yours, because you have every tool available. And you can make this whatever you want to make it. But deciding what that is first is really important. Otherwise, you end up being that wave, tossed about the waves, all over the place because you didn't focus first on what it is you were trying to accomplish. Creating that own personal culture. Unload the pessimistic people in your life. If that's your husband, then you don't want to know. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying that you pray scripture over that man. You just pray for him and say, Lord, I'm going to honor you in my marriage, and just please make him less grumpy. But there are a lot of people we choose to be with that we don't need to choose to be with. There are a lot of people who treat us poorly that we need to learn to set boundaries against because they are hurting us and we're letting them. So set your boundaries, get rid of the pessimistic people, because it's really hard when you're trying to create this culture and you keep letting people come in and poisoning you with bad stuff. It's okay for you to protect them. Yes, but I'm supposed to serve. I'm supposed to serve other people. I'm supposed to have a servant's heart. I'm supposed to love on everyone. I'm supposed to nurture my people. Absolutely. Starting with you. You know the whole thing in the airplane, put yours on first, otherwise you can't help somebody else? Okay, well, a bunch of us are out there without oxygen trying to save everybody else in the world while we can't breathe. because none of us will take the time to take care of us first, so we have the ability to take care of somebody else. Set your boundaries, get rid of the negative people that surround you, and only be around people who encourage you. If this person makes you feel yucky, stop hanging out with her. Now, there are some people we have to deal with. If I know that I'm going to be dealing with somebody who drains me, I gear up. I spend extra time in prayer. I give myself a start time and an end time. I guard my emotions. I do not emotionally engage with that person. I deal with the business I have to deal with that person. I am kind. I do not get mouthy. I am not critical. I deal with the business. Is there anything else I can do for you? Great. Have a great day. Done. I do not engage with people who drain me emotionally. Because I do. And then it's like 4 days later and I'm trying to pick myself up off the couch and do anything. After I talked to everybody else about how someone just sucked my life out. No, I gave it to her. Nobody can drain you without your permission. So don't stop doing that. Don and I were looking at triggers. Are you passionate? Are you powerful? Are you rebellious? Like, what is your trigger? And it's always been passion for me. You have noticed I get really passionate about things. I get passionate about lots of things. I get passionate about pound cake with chocolate sauce. I mean, I'm not particular. But I live life hard. Because what's the point otherwise? That's just my personality. I'm not telling you have to be me. Just trying to explain myself here. My husband's not that way. But I want that whole suck the marrow out of life kind of thing. But everyone is passionate about something. You may not be passionate about the same thing I am, but you are passionate about something. That's your fuel. Do you know what you're passionate about? I mean, have you thought about it? Most people just kind of go through life, just kind of coasting through, doing what comes next. The title of my book is Living Life Intentionally, like as in on purpose, instead of just letting life come at you. You are passionate about something. I encourage you to take some time and figure out what that is. Pray about it. Ask God, what am I passionate about? What makes my heart sing? That's a question I ask my kids. What makes your heart sing? I want them to find out what their passion is. Either be all in or be all out. That lukewarm, read Revelations, I don't want to be spit out. You know, lukewarm people get spit out of his mouth. Either be hot or be cold. Find out what you can be passionate about and bring that to your business. One of my designers, she's a 2-diamond, she's been in for 7 years or so, part of that group that Donna was talking about. And she really struggles in leadership because this is not her giftedness. She's not a speaker. She is not, she doesn't have that charisma to be able to do that. That's just not her strength. She's so good at friendship. She just loves befriending people. She said, so if that's my passion, how do I use that in my business? And I said, what's the best thing in your business? What's the best day in your business? She said, well, I had this hostess. And she didn't really wear any makeup, and she was really felt kind of frumpy all the time. And she had a good show, but she didn't even know what to get. So I took her shopping, and I bought her a new outfit, and we got her hair done, and I, had this whole day. It was a makeover day for her, and I helped her pick out the jewelry. It was the best day that I ever had. And she said it was so good, and she was so appreciative, and she lit up, and it changed her whole life, and she has shows for me twice a year because it made such a huge difference for her. And I'm watching her talk, and this is what she's doing. And she's getting really animated, and all of that charismatic behavior she says she doesn't have starts coming up because this is what she wants. Now that, to me, is like a day, shoot me first before don't make me do that. Because that's not my passion. But for her, this was all, she said, I can't buy all my hostesses new outfits to get her hair done. I said, no, maybe you could offer that as your booking incentive. Book a show with me, and you get a personal shopper, and I'll take you out and help you find an outfit and be able to, isn't that better than here, have a purse? If that's her passion, if that's what feeds her soul, guess how blessed people are going to be if she uses that in her business? Because that's going to come out of her. So what are you passionate about, and how can you use that passion in this business to help your business and to serve other people? It has to be what you're passionate about. Because if you try to be passionate what I'm passionate about, it's not going to work. You have to figure out what's going to make you work with passion. Sorry. All right, last part of this part is priorities. I did a retreat in the fall, women's retreat in the fall. What are the most important things in your life? Okay, you have 6 months to live. What are the most important things? Children.
God's first.
God.
Family.
Family.
My dog.
Your dog. Hey, we all have it. No judgment. Okay, you're not really dying. You just are living your perfect life. What else is on that list that's important to you? I'm sorry. Travel. Health. Sisters. Okay. When I did this retreat, we listed all of these on the board. For most people, God, spouse, children, physical health, and like extra family and friends. Those are the 5 most important things to pretty much everybody. I mean, there were 150 women there, and that was the consensus. How many of you do something for those 5 things every day? All 5. Every day. Good for you. You should do those 5 things before you do anything else. Because if those are the most important things, those always get pushed to last. Because I have to check that email. I just have to get that text. I just have to do this first. I just have to run here. I'll get to that later. You never get to it. Most important things should never be at the mercy of the least important things. Goethe said that. The most important things should never be at the mercy of the least important things, and yet they always are. Because a ringing phone just feels more urgent than prayer time. But it really isn't. Because at the end of your life, you're not going to wish that you spend more time on the phone. Do the 5 things that are your biggest priority first. This is why I like it. Because if I get up and I have time with the Lord, and I spend time with Glenn, and I spend time with my kids, and I go exercise, I could do nothing else that day and feel really good about myself. That's why. Then I could be lazy for the rest of the day and still feel like I was good. Reverse that. Get up, start doing emails, have work to do, but get distracted by everybody else's stuff because the email's coming in, the thing, and the phone ring, and you've got your list, but you never get to it because everybody else's lists keep compiling on top of yours. It's now 2 o'clock, I haven't showered yet, and I have to get Max. How is that possible? I didn't get anything done. So you're all nodding. That one's more familiar to most of you, I'm noticing. If you don't do those things first, you don't get them done, and you end up doing everybody else's important stuff and never getting to yours because they just keep coming in. The phone keeps going ding, ding. That's Donna's ringtone. I've been with her for 2 days. Ding, ding, ding. Turn it. You know you can turn those off. Did you all know that? That's like an off button. It doesn't make any noise at all. You can't even see it. I just want to know because I think a lot of women don't know that. So how are you spending your days? C.S. Lewis says, what is necessary is never impossible. If it is necessary for you to exercise and be healthy, it's not impossible. If it is necessary for you to spend quality time with your spouse, not impossible. If it is necessary for you to spend one-on-one time with your children, it's not impossible. If it is necessary, it's not impossible. God's not that cruel. So whatever it is that you feel is most important to you, there is time to do it if you decide to make that time. And how do you do that? You control your thoughts. What are you thinking about? What are you plugged into? What are you listening to? Who are you allowing to stir your pot? Who are you allowing to dictate who you are? Who are you following? Do you want to end up where that person is? If not, quit following them. When I first came in Premier, I was very skeptical, very cynical, and in the first year, I kind of got into a rough group of stuff and was led astray by some people. So I went, shut down. I didn't bring anybody in to train. I didn't go anywhere else. The only place that I went was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Because I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know who was telling me the right thing. I didn't know who was lying about what, and it didn't matter what their level was. There was just a whole lot of stuff that I didn't know what to do with. It seemed to work. I'm just saying. So if you're looking for someone to follow, that's a good place to start. Making sure that you are developing a culture for yourself, for your business, that you love. Because it's who you were created to be. Doing the things that you were created to do. And when you are that person, people will follow you. When you are who you were created to be, you will set the world on fire. St. Catherine of Siena. When you are who you were created to be, you will set the world on fire. When you own you, people will go, wow, I want what she has. And when they do that, you become a leader because you get to influence them. You get the privilege of speaking into their life and helping them to find that same thing. The second half, we're going to talk about how to create a team culture. How do you then take that and reach it out to develop an entire organization that operates with that same mentality?
Wonderful. Woohoo!
Make sure it didn't ring. I was having a heart attack after you said that.
You were doing your OP.
There's something new that I found, and so I have to use my notes, which I hate using because then I end up reading, but there's some new stuff I found that I want to share with you. If you do not believe and live out of that belief, neither will anyone else. Great leaders share their belief, vision, and passion, and then inspire others to believe. If you do not believe and live out of that belief, neither will anyone else. It's not enough to just say you believe something. You actually have to live out of that belief. Several times over the last couple of years, I thought I was ready to talk again, but now I'm scraggly. God has called us to do things we didn't think we were doing. May of 11, he said, you're going to move to South Carolina. And literally it was about that direct. We had no intentions of moving. We weren't planning on going. Our kids were starting high school. We had no intentions of moving. That was May. We moved in July.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes. And everyone said, well, how did you do that? Who do you know there? Nobody. Well, did Glenn get a job? Nope, he does this with me. Do you have shows? No. Is your family there? Mm-mm. Why are you going? God told us to. If I say I'm a follower and then I don't follow, then I'm not really living out of my belief. If I say that I'm a believer and I don't live by faith, then I'm a hypocrite. We can't say this is who we are and then not live that way, or no one will follow you. I'm a person of integrity. Well, except for when I want to do this, this, or this. You have to live out of what you profess to believe. So if you don't live in that walk, quit saying that's what you are. You have to live what you profess to believe, or no one will follow you. You can do this business. All you have to do, you're going to do lots of shows, sponsors people. It's really easy. You can do it. Or you, well, no, but you can. Why would anyone follow you? Well, I've done one show this year, but I know you can do more than that. It doesn't even make sense. We laugh at it, and yet people do it. There are people out there attempting to lead other people to be successful in this business that don't do home shows. Don't be following that person. So you need to take accountability to that, but make sure in your own walk, are you living out of your belief, or are you just a talker? Someone who says you believe in this company, someone who says you believe it's easy to book home shows, someone who says that they love people. You could say these things, but are you actually living that out? Becoming a person of integrity doesn't just mean having good morals. The word integral, I apologize for this, I'm actually a high school English teacher way a long time ago. But to be a person of integrity, to have integrity, means that you are integrated. Meaning you are the same on the inside, on the outside, at home, at school, away, at a show, at rally. Jesus were sitting next to you, would you be doing what you're doing? If not, then you're really not operating out of integrity if you profess to follow him. If Andy Horner was sitting next to you, would you be doing what you were doing? And if not, then you don't have integrity with what you said he teaches. If you are telling someone that they can do 4 to 6 home shows a month and you haven't done that in the last 2 years, you are not operating out of integrity. You are not an integrated person. Be the same person all over. Be the same person at home, at school, at the shows, wherever you are. And people will follow you. because people don't do that. We tase our masks all the time, depending on who we're with. So you have to live out of that belief. So what is your mission statement, and does your team know what that is? Does your family know what that is? Do you have a family mission statement? Have you actually thought about what that might be? Do you have an intention about your day, about your life, about your team? So as you're building a team, how many of you would like to have a team of jewelers in Premier? Raise your hand really high if you would like to have a team. Okay. How many of you would just really like more shoe money? Raise your hand if you're in that category. Okay.
More, say that
As
again.
opposed to the team. I mean, you can have both, but how many of you would just want shoe money and no team? Because that's okay. I have one of those. She's awesome. You take one of those? You just want shoe money? All right. So the reason I ask that question is, to be silly, but I don't want you to think I'm not talking to you. Like, I'm not saying you have to build a big team. These principles apply to being a jeweler. Okay, so don't think, oh, well, I don't want to be in leadership, so I don't have to listen to this part. Because there will be things here that will apply to making you a better leader as a mom, a better leader as a jewelry lady. Okay, so if you are someone, I want you to put yourself in these words, not to think, well, I guess I have to sponsor, but to see how this can benefit you. Do you tracking what I'm saying? Okay. In Premier, our mission statement is attracting, inspiring, and sustaining passionate jewelers. That's what we want to do. We want to attract people to this business. We want to inspire them while they're here. We want to sustain them for long term. Whatever we bring to Team Weaver Connection, we hold up against that mission. Is this going to inspire people to want to be part of us? Is this going to attract people to us? Is this going to help jewelers stay in? If not, is this a place we want to invest our time, energy, and efforts? Having an idea of what you want as a mission for your organization, family, other job, helps you to weed out the stuff that doesn't match. It makes the world a lot easier to navigate. For Grace Unfolding, our other business, our mission is inspiring other people to live life on purpose. That's what I want to inspire other people to do, to live life on purpose, be intentional about their choices. So when I'm making decisions about what talks I'm going to give, where I'm going to travel, what retreats I'm going to do, what one-on-one coaching I'm willing to take on, it has to go in line with that mission statement. Otherwise, that's not really what God wants me to do. So that's something to pray about. What is your mission in Premier? What is your mission at your shows? What is your mission in general? What do you want to be known for? So figuring out what that is so that you can live out of that. Building trust with people, you want them to then, you have to find a way to have them adopt that same vision. My 16-year-old, the bike girl, she's now 16, she has very strong leadership qualities. She's just a natural leader, which then also means she's really bossy and controlling and tries to make people do what she wants through sheer force. She's the oldest of 4, and therefore she's always been, you're in charge, so she just assumes that's of the world kind of personality. And so we spend a lot of time trying to help her to understand that she can't lead by force. You cannot lead by force. This is not a dictatorship. You cannot lead by coercion. You cannot lead by fear. Now, can you get people to do stuff in those things? Sure, for a short period of time. But if you actually want to be a leader of people, you have to do it through inspiration. You have to get people on board with your vision. So you having one's usually a good place to start. And then helping them to get on board with that. So if it's your family, what do you want your family to be seen as? How do you want your kids to grow up? What do you want them to be known for? Getting them to follow that is by building strong relationships. Too many people focus on wanting people to follow the rules, but don't invest in the relationships so that people aren't motivated. You better come to training. She hasn't talked to me in 6 weeks, but she's demanding that I show up. Rules without relationship leads to rebellion. I know I keep throwing a lot of quotes at you, but I told you I do a lot of reading. Rules without relationship leads to rebellion. You have to have a relationship if you're going to give people a rule that you expect them to follow. There has to be a personal investment from you in the lives of the people that you're giving rules to, if you want them to actually follow the rules that you're putting down. So it's only through those relationships that we get transformed. And I mentioned that at the beginning about being a people of community, that it's being around others. Like, people rub off your rough edges. being married, my goal in being married is to help Glenn grow in holiness. His goal in being married is to help me grow in holiness. And that our goal as a married couple is that we can grow in holiness together to become the people that God created us to be. In order to do that, you have to be vulnerable and be allowed to have your edges rubbed off. When you live close to somebody, there's a lot of edges that jab each other. But over time, if you allow that to happen, those edges become smooth and you become more refined. And so relationships will do that for you if you're humble enough to let it happen. And it's within that relationship of trust that when people trust you, one of the things that my team says to me all the time, I love that you will always tell me the truth. I don't really always like it, but I love that you're going to do it. They know I love them enough never to lie to them. They know I love them enough to not let them stay where you are. I love you too much to let you sit in the muck that you're currently in. And that's how I approach my leadership. That's what I say to my kids. That's what I say to my leaders. God says that to us. I love you too much to let you sit in the sin that you're in. When we can love that way, where you have a relationship first, people invite you to speak into their life. I'm loving the music in the background. Making me feel really...
I planned that.
You planned that?
Yeah.
So it's awesome of you. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was getting really distracted over there. Okay. Only through relationships can we be transformed. Where there's a void in communication, within those relationships, negativity will fill it. Where there is a void in communication, if you don't talk about it, the worst is assumed.
Amen.
You come home and you thought something was going to be going a certain way and it's not. He didn't do what you thought he was going to do or what you thought you had asked him to do, and so you're mad because you go off. He never does that. Never does things. You've gone off in your brain to this place of this horrible person you're married to. Never does what he says he's supposed to do. All of that, you've already created this whole negative response. And he comes home and says, well, I stopped on the way home because I didn't make dinner because I'm taking you out because I had a promotion and I bought tickets to take you out, and here's the... Now you feel sheepish. Okay, and that's a really kind of obvious example, but that happens all the time. If you don't talk about it, people will assume the worst. So just talk about it. It's never as bad as it will become if you don't talk about it. So in your team, if there's an issue, we're all women, so there's usually an issue. Talk about it. Make them talk to each other. Not to you and the go-between and everybody else. Talk to each other. Help them to talk to each other. Help them to see a way past the issue instead of turning it into a bigger issue. Teaching people how to communicate. When there's that negativity, everybody goes into survival mode. Something happens with the company. Let's say, I don't know, there's this rumor going around that, I don't know, we're going to start selling widgets, okay, instead of jewelry. Nobody ever really says anything. And there's this buzz. I don't know, are we really selling widgets? Maybe I shouldn't buy more jewelry. I don't think I'm going to book any more shows until I really hear about the widget thing, because then I'm going to have all these shows booked for jewelry and we're not going to have any jewelry. And this whole buzz through the company. And everybody goes into survival mode. Well, I'm going to hold on to the jewelry I have because I might not be able to get any more. Whenever there is a breakdown in communication, we all go into self-protection. So if you have a team of people, you have a family, and there's a breakdown in communication, kids go to the room, they slam the doors, husbands and wives go to different rooms, there's no talking, and everybody's just protecting themselves. So as uncomfortable as it is to talk about things that are uncomfortable, it's more uncomfortable to let them fester. Because everybody then makes assumptions, when everybody's assuming this person's really mad at me, when she's just really hurt. I mean, we've all been on the other side of the resolution going, gosh, this really wasn't that big of a deal. So being the leader and being able to, as I said at the beginning, pull back out of the drama, actually see what's going on and not become emotionally attached to one's opinion or the other. Look at the situation and help people to communicate will so help the problems of drama in your organization. We don't typically help because we jump right into it with them with both feet. And whoever we talk to first, well, that's who we're in. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she would ever do that. That's so terrible. Do we ever ask her? No, we've already run with this person. It's so dangerous to do that. Creating a good team culture means as the leader, we need to facilitate better communication. And it starts with us, with having our people trust us. Do your children trust you? Do they actually trust you with their vulnerability? Can they be vulnerable with you? Or are they afraid of what you might say or think if they actually told you the truth about who they were? Can your jewelers trust you with their vulnerability? Or are they afraid that you're going to judge them because they really don't want to build a business or because they really don't know how to book a home show even though they've been in for 4 years? They don't want to tell you that because you might think something, and so we make assumptions about them. Building that trust and communication starts with you being transparent. When I first started in leadership, I thought if I admitted my failures, I lost all credibility. Like if I told people that I didn't know what I was doing, then why would anybody follow me? That was how I was raised. I don't think my dad, my parents just, they didn't apologize because they'd lose authority. And so that's what I thought you did to lead. In order to have authority, you always have to be right. You always have to have the right answer in the right way. But what I've learned is when you appear to always have the right answer, when you appear to always, it always works out for you, then nobody can do what you do because they think, well, I can't do that. I'm not perfect like her. I don't have my whole world together like she does, so I couldn't possibly be a leader in this company. So now I'm happily parading my $68 home show in front of all of you. You too can do this business. Being able to be transparent. I am not perfect. I say things I shouldn't say. I act like I shouldn't act. I do all of these things. This is why we need Jesus. This is not getting yourself together first to come to him. It's because he's here we can't even get ourselves together, right? Own that. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I said that. I don't know what got over me. I am so sorry that I embarrassed you in front of people. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. Please forgive me for hurting you. I am so sorry that I completely gave you wrong information about how to do that home show. I am so sorry that I never turned in your replacement exchange. I am so sorry. I'm a fallible person who screws up and makes mistakes, and I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry that I was such a bad leader the first 5 years you were in the company. I tell it to my first levels all the time, although they're doing really well. Maybe we should go back to that. Being able to be transparent makes people trust you because they can then be transparent with you. With my children, this was my husband. Glenn totally disagreed with me on this. Jessica's entering 7th grade. I believed it was my responsibility to inform her of every word she's going to hear on the bus and define that word for her. Because me, as a 13-year-old, I didn't know what any of that meant, and I didn't want to ask and look stupid, so I made guesses and assumptions, and I certainly wasn't going to ask my mother. And my sister just laughed at me if I brought stuff up. So I just hear all this stuff, and you kind of laugh, and you just feel kind of lost and uncomfortable. And sometimes you use words you shouldn't use because you don't know what they mean. So I just decided, I'm just going to explain them all. So we sat outside, and I explained them all. I mean, from the really, really mild ones in the genre up to the, Glenn's sitting there like this. I cannot believe you're saying that to her. But you know what? She tells me everything. Because I said it first. She knows I know what those words mean. For some reason, our kids think we don't. I've already bridged the gap on the really uncomfortable conversation. I can't believe my mother just said that word. So now I can come to her and say, I heard this thing, and not have to feel weird. So when we put it out there first, it bridges a gap with our kids. It bridges a gap with our jewelers. There is a new measuring stick for success. We talked about level of engagement. There are a lot of people, they call them Q&S people. They're the quit and stayers. They quit a long time ago, but they stay. Don and I were going through our report today about our quit and stayers. I keep renewing. I have a girl who has not done a home show in 6 years. She keeps renewing. Seriously, that's exactly. This is the face I make. She's absolutely a quit and stayer. Is this a place I'm investing my time? No. She's making a decision, and for whatever reason she's making a decision, but she's a quit and stayer. That is not a place to invest my time. Recognize there are people there. There are people who keep showing up, but they're not actually engaged. You need to be able to discern those people and be able to invest in those people. Then there are those who are actively disengaged. Do you know that it would cost a company less money to take the negative, disengaged people, keep them on staff, and make them stay home? Pay them their full salary, full benefits. You're never allowed to come to work. Because what you do so badly affects everybody else around you that we go way down in productivity. So you can stay on, don't ever come back. That's really powerful. Mm-hmm. So quit and stay. Don't be a quit and stayer, don't be disengaged. And when you look at people in your business, use that as the measuring stick. Not just, what are her numbers? Not just, does she sign up, does she come to every training? I've got some amazing jewelers who can't come to every training. They do what they can. They're trying to keep harmony. They're trying to make it work. They're actively engaged. You have to make sure that you are looking past here with people and actually get into their life to be able to lead them. You can't lead from your office. You can't lead from behind your computer. You can't lead via text. Louder for all to hear. You cannot lead via text. I think I hear an amen. Who said she was going to amen? Who said that? Somebody said she was. You can't. Is it a tool? Can you use it? Can you stay in touch? Yes. But you need to be out in front. You need to be there. They need to see your face. They need to hear your voice. You have to lead. If you're going to lead people, you have to be with people. It's hard. It is so much easier to sit behind my computer and send group emails. That is so much easier. It is so much easier to send a group text. It is so much easier to just blanket statement everybody. It is easier. That's why it's less effective. To be able to lead well, you have to be out with people. Are you too busy? This is a very important question. Are you too busy doing the wrong things to lead well? I don't have time to be with all my people. Do you know how much stuff I have to do in my office? I don't have enough time to go out to lunch with her. I have all of these emails to answer. You may not say those exact words, but I've talked to people who are too busy doing the wrong stuff, and they don't have any time to do the stuff that's actually going to build their business. They like playing office. They like creating great invitations, and I love you all because I don't and I steal them, but I'm just saying. If it's your gift and you can do it in 5 minutes, do it, and then share it with the rest of us so I don't have to spend 4 days trying to figure it out. But make sure that you are not doing busy things in this business. That you're actually with people. It's messy, it's harder, it's frustrating. You actually have to get down into their mess with them. Okay, but let's go back to Jesus. I mean, God could have made a different plan. I'm just going to stay up here because I'm not coming down into there. So just from here, I can just go praying. You're all saved. Stand up here. It's nice up here. He didn't do that. He came down into our messiness to lead us. And even when he was here, he didn't say, okay, you're healed. He used his spit and the dirt in his hands. He touched people. He got into the messiness of their lives to lead them. He didn't sit up on his throne and tell everybody what they need to be doing. If you want to lead, you're going to have to get in the trenches with your people. You have to be willing to get messy. You have to be willing to be vulnerable and transparent and hurt with them and laugh with them and cry with them and have fights with them and forgive them if you're going to lead them. It doesn't happen from your office. It doesn't happen from your text. It doesn't happen from your computer. I'm not saying you can't use those things. I use them all the time. But they are not a replacement for actually working with your people. If you never spoke to your husband, but you texted him all the time, do you have a really deep level of intimacy?
Absolutely not.
You never saw him in person. You never saw his face again. You hadn't seen him in 18 years, but you are happily married. It's stupid. It's stupid, right? It just doesn't even make any sense. But we think we can do that with our people, with our kids. The two greatest enemies of success are busyness and stress. It is really easy to be kind when we're not busy. It is really easy to be generous when we're not in debt. It's really easy to be helpful when we're not late. So we can all be these, do you ever realize like how kind and wonderful you are on vacation? My kids have actually said that. We like vacation daddy. To try to find a way to be that all the time. To be less busy, less stressed, so you can be more available. We have something we call the ministry of availability. The ministry of availability. Someone calls you and says, can you, I need, you say yes. That's the ministry of availability. In this moment, right now, this person has a need, I can meet it. Is it big? Is it glamorous? Do you get your name on paper because you did it? No. What's an example of that? We were leaving Bible study. I was on my way to hostess coach. And this one girl, she's got these three little, just these cute little boys, 4 and under, just adorable little ducklings that follow her everywhere. And she's not doing well. She has some health problems. I said, Jess, do you need something? Is there something I can do? She said, no, I'm just going to the doctor's. You know, it's fine. I'm heading to the doctor's office now. And I said, well, what are you doing with them? Oh, they'll just come. I said, well, why don't you let me take them? Oh, no. I have to move 3 car seats. We're not going to. I said, well, we'll just switch cars. No. It's okay. And I said, let me help you go to the doctor's office. She said, well, can you just come with me and just sit there with them so I don't have to take them in to the doctors? Could you just sit there? Yes, because I can. Because I work this business that gives me the freedom to make choices that are good for people. So I can call my hostess and say, Patrice, are you going to be around for about another hour? I just need some extra time. Sure, are you okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Got them, she said, what happened? And I told her, and she said, I can't believe you did that. So not only did I bless Jessica because I helped her go to the doctors, but being able to witness to somebody else, just because I sat with 3 kids for 20 minutes in the doctor's office. That one thing, if we did that one thing, if we all did the ministry of availability, every time God put that in front of us, how much more effective are you going to be as a leader? How many more people are going to say, wow, I want to do that too. How do you do that? So busyness and stress. The last thing, I know we're closing up here, is the recognition system. How do we recognize people in the company, in our homes? How do we recognize people that's going to get the greatest impact? I have an issue with bribes. And too often I feel like there's bribing that goes on. We bribe people to work. We bribe people to hit it. Here's the carrot, ding, ding, ding. You know, like there's a place for that. But I've done a lot of research. There are several books that I've read on the topic. People are more motivated by acknowledgement recognition than carrot recognition. For example, I want someone to do a poster for this event that I'm holding, and so I ask a couple people to do it, and I find one, and I pick one, and I come up at the next sales meeting we have, and I say, "Did you guys check this out? You know what, Donna did this. That's not amazing, Donna. This is so amazing." I talk about her, I show the poster, I have her come up, and I just praise her. I don't give her a prize, I don't give her money, I don't give her a purse, I don't give her a tiara to wear. I just praise her in front of her peers and explain why I'm praising her. That's healthy recognition. She goes home feeling like a princess, not because she wore a tiara, but because someone acknowledged her efforts, praised her in front of her peers, and gave her recognition. If you want to recognize your people, start finding ways to recognize them that way. I'm not saying eliminate the other stuff. It's not an either or. But this type of recognition will go a lot further in actually strengthening their spirit, not just getting them to chase the next carrot that you offer. So if you want them to engage in the vision that you have, providing an environment like that where they go, oh, I'm going to do it next time. Because she got all that support and everyone really clapped for her, and I really want to do that. I want to be seen as the successful one. So we're going to do a big event, and we have our budding photographer over here who takes all the pictures because she's had passion for photography. So she's going to do her photography, and she's going to put the pictures up, and I bring her up, and I'm going to say, just look at these pictures she took. She's such an amateur photographer, but isn't this amazing? Wouldn't it be incredible to do that? How hard is that? It didn't cost me a dime. I didn't have to invest all everything that I made. I didn't have to invest my commission check. But she feels better than had I given her a purse or a ticket or a prize. Okay, so when you think about acknowledging, recognizing your people, recognizing your kids, quit buying them stuff. Acknowledge who they are. Quit giving them something to make them happy. Recognize who they're becoming, the positive things that they're doing. Hold it up to show other people why you're proud of them and what it is that they're doing well, not just rewarding them for something they've already done. It's a different way of doing recognition because our world has changed. Everything's becoming more automated. People don't need to work on assembly lines because we have machines to do that. So it used to be, this is my job, I punch my clock. If I get overtime, that's great because then I get more money. And that was what people did. We don't do that anymore. People want more. I want more meaning. I want more fulfillment. I don't want my paycheck stamped. I want more. We cannot keep recognizing using a system that is very outdated and expect it to have results in a culture that wants more. We can't continue to recognize people the way they did 50 years ago when they're not doing that same work. People are looking for purpose in their work. So quit recognizing the result and recognize the purpose behind that result. Quit recognizing how many shows they've held and recognize how many people they served. One of the recognitions we do is called the Dove Award, demonstrating outstanding virtuous example. We find jewelers who are doing something that has nothing to do with their shows, but it's something they've done for a hostess or someone that someone hears about. And we bring them up and we tell everybody. If you were at Rally, the story about the girl who had Down syndrome, and she had a pink, Tim read her story, had a picture, she died, she was wearing the petals necklace. Anybody kind of says, okay, she was one of my jewelers hostesses because she received the Dove Award because of how she treated this girl. So she went from feeling really good about herself to being recognized at my meeting that I shared with the home office. She got recognized and impacted 8,000 women. That's recognition. That's what makes people stay. Not because they were won the top prize, but because someone saw them. See me. Everybody wants to be seen. Does anybody know I'm here? Does anybody even see me? That's how you can recognize effectively. See people. See people at your show. See your jewelers. Look at your husband. See him. See your children. That kind of recognition will bless people in a way that will blow your mind. This is what I'm passionate about. And I will start crying because I'm going to stop now and do a little advertising. I do have 2 new books coming out next month. The website is LarynWeaver.com, and I do events, and I do small retreats and big retreats, and I do one-on-one coaching. The one book is Every Woman's Journey, and it's just a daily devotional. I, too, am an amateur photographer. So I have a reflections book that comes out, and a workbook called State of the Union about intimacy in your marriage. And my husband and I have a book coming out in the fall called Promises Kept, which is our story. We married 20 years in October. And it's just our story that's really kind of crazy of how we got here. It's my hope through all of those things that people start to stop. I want you to just stop and take a look at your life. Instead of just letting one more day come and hit up against you, and hit up against you, and hit up against her, and 10 years go by and you're like, what am I doing? Stop. Take a minute. This business is a perfect place for you to do that. Because they have created a culture that allows you to do that. Because it's not about do more shows, do more shows, do more shows. It's not about that. It's unlike other companies. This is a culture that will allow you the room to do it. Take advantage of it. Because you can become anything you want to become. Use Premier as the vehicle to get there. Thanks so much for having me today. I love being here.
Should not climb up on stages, right? But isn't she awesome, guys? Yeah. And I wish I would have brought that picture. I'm sitting there, I'm going, I should have brought the picture of her at the first rally. Her hair was down to here.
I burned it.
You burned your hair?
No, the picture.
Oh, I have it still. And it was curly, and she didn't have a very happy look on her face.
I was cold.
She was cold. Body language speaks volumes, right, girls? But anyway, this is a thank you just from us for being here today. So thank you so much for being here. Oh, and I've been feeding her since she's been here. Well, of course, we've been eating out. I took her to Rosebuds today. You guys know Rosebuds? Oh, yeah. I know.
Still full.
Yes, I'm still full. I don't even think we need to eat dinner tonight. I said, well, you better eat at like 2 o'clock because you can't eat right before you train. You know how that goes. But I do want to just say, I forgot to mention this part about this, and I'm hesitant to even say this, but I just want to, for those of you who are new to the business and may have never heard this, I just want to give you a little bit of vision. You know, we talked a lot about how Premier can grow you spiritually, how it can grow you, change your life, and it can. But I also want to share just some of her numbers with her. You can say, I honestly wrote these down before I came, they were on the back side of her sheet, so I forgot to mention them. But I just want to give you some vision for where this business can take you and can take your family. Yes, the person who's sitting in the chair that you occupy right now will not be the same person that's going to be sitting in that same chair that's you in 10 years from now if you stay with the company and continue to be here, because you will grow as a person. But it's going to also impact your family's life. I've seen Lauren's family. I've watched them grow. I've seen Max since he was this little, and now he's almost as tall as her, and I'm like, wow. But, you know, in 2003, she came in here. Remember I told you how many shows did she do? Do you remember? 100, yes. She made $8,300 her first year in the business, okay? This is just her commissions from sponsoring those 13 people. What did I say? She sponsored 15 people. So her first year in the business, she made $8,300 from having about 15 people on her team. You know what's so funny is, and when she said this number to me, I go, mine was 9,750. I mean, it's like, literally, that's what's going to happen. And her second year in the business, from her commissions, I want you to think about the number of how this can impact. Your first year, if you sponsor 15 people, her second year in, I mean, you're not going to get rich on $8,300. Is that true? No. You can maybe buy a used car. That's about it. Okay. Second, 2004, her income went to $31,000. Now that's significant. You can buy a new car. You went from a used car to a new car. True? Okay. Her third year in the business, her commissions were at $37,000, and then listen to the next one. In 2006, she made $65,000 from her commissions alone. And then it went to $91,000, and then to $99,000, to $130,000, to $192,000, to $209,000. I mean, that's significant. Could that change your life? Yes? Yes. How about this side? Yes. Could you spend it? Could you find some way to do that? It changes your life. But the person you see sitting here is not the same person that I did at OP at Eaton Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We call it Eaton Pew in Pittsburgh. It's not. She's a completely different person, and that's a blessing, isn't it? Though. But so, girls, you know, Premier can change your life. Yes, it is. The jewelry is a vehicle. She